There it is. There's the music.
Right. Chill
Yes.
vibe. Got them already.
Yeah, here we go. Hey, guys. Hey, well, hey, let's get right into it. Welcome back to Car Motivators Live. My name is Kelley, Marketing Director at Car Motivators and also the host of this. With me again, none other than the variable ops coach of the world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got a couple of really great ones, but hey, let's say Chris is pretty good, right? Chris Spalding, how you doing, sir? How you doing?
Doing awesome, my friend Chaz. Good to be here with you as always, my friend.
Absolutely.
Nice
Hey,
day.
look, today's a great day because, hey,
For a couple of reasons,
who
right?
better? Yeah, a couple of reasons, right? Like, so who better to celebrate than the car biz coach himself? That's right. Happy birthday, Sean.
Happy birthday,
Kelley.
Sean. Big shout out.
Yeah, Sean.
Big shout out.
Shout out to Sean Kelley, obviously our CEO and owner, the car biz coach. Guys, never met a more empowering person in my life to go to war with. I'm glad I get to go to war with him from a commercial standpoint every single day. And help change the car business for the better. I'm sure we all. Chris, you want to share some light on your experience with Sean?
Yeah, and I'm sure, Chaz, as we know, if he was available right now, he'd be more than happy to be on here right now with us. But I think he's taking in some waves right now and some sand on the beach somewhere. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what he's doing right
he's
now?
down in Florida. He's finally got a much-deserved vacation with his family. Gosh, a guy works year-round and doesn't really get a chance to get away with his family. So Sean is taking a vacation this week down in Florida somewhere, and much-deserved. And the funny thing is, he's actually doing coaching while he's on vacation.
I know. It's hard to believe. And that brings me to one of the things I'd love to say is that, you know, for myself, I was a personal client of Sean's for many, many years, going back to, I think, 2016 for myself. And now that I get to work here, I started January, as you know, this year with Car Motivators. And what is so awesome about Sean is that the way he coaches us personally is exactly how the business is run, front to back.
Right.
He treats us the same way.
What we preach, right?
He really practices what he preaches. And I don't think I've met a more caring, genuine individual as long as I've been around the car business. And it's so refreshing to really get to share that.
Look, and I gotta bounce on that because, like, I've been one of his most tenured employees so far. I think Reed and I are the oldest employees of Car Motivators outside of himself. Hey, by the way, Sean, if you're watching this is exactly why I wore my Tommy Bahama today, because I'm with you in spirit on the beach somewhere. We're always celebrating somewhere, right? But I'm with you in spirit on the beach. I actually will be on the beach next week. So
nice.
Kind of staggering these, dividing and conquering here, right? But we're all trying to get a little vacation in the summertime. But Sean, if you're seeing this, man, happy birthday. Thank you for being the leader that you are for our company and for so many other companies out there. So many other dealerships, so many other OEMs, rooftops, obviously, everybody that we have coached and touched over the years has nothing but positive things to say about the things we've done for them. And that's the essence of what we do at Car Motivators. We sit here and we literally mull over ways to change people's lives. That's what keeps us up at night, and that's what keeps us working hard. And that all started with you, my brother. So here's the cool thing, right? So in the spirit, and guys, we set this up on purpose, right? In the spirit.
We might have almost thought about this, Chaz.
What's that?
We might have almost thought about how we were going to do this today.
Yeah, maybe. You know, the wheels can fall off later, but hey,
that's right.
As of right now, look, we did set this up. So in the spirit of Sean's birthday, we decided, you know what? We're not going to go one direction or another here. We're really going to just shoot from the hip. We're going to actually use Learn to Coach, Learn to Lead. That's right. That's Sean's best-selling book, Amazon. He's an Amazon #1 bestseller. Okay. Learn to Coach, Learn to Lead. I'm going to open this book, and I'm going to turn to a random page, and we are going to get our coaching question of the week from something in this book. I don't even know what I'm about to look at. So let's take a chat. So without further ado,
the good news here is no matter what page you open to, you're bound to find something that can help somebody.
That's the wonderful thing about Sean's book.
That's right.
Learn to Coach, Learn to Lead, man. I got to tell you, I was with him when he wrote it. I reviewed the draft, and then I've read the final copy, and there's not a single page in this book that does not empower you to think twice about your decisions, to think about what you're doing as a manager and as a leader in your corporate structure or wherever you may be. If you haven't picked this book up, do Sean a favor on his birthday and
Right.
go get a copy. It's on Amazon. It's on En Route Publishing. But a lot of you guys got those Amazon Prime accounts. This could be at your doorstep in 2 days
That's right.
for $24.95. I mean, come
Mhm.
on, a wealth of knowledge. This is like 6 and 7 figures worth of knowledge for $24.
That's right.
Why wouldn't you do it? So, and you know what? You want to know why wouldn't you do it? Well, why would you do it? Right? Well, let's dive right in and find out. So, without
Great point.
Chris, you ready to do our coaching question of the week, sir?
I think it's time. What do you got for us this week, Chaz?
I don't know. We're about to find out. Let's open it up here and let's just flip to a couple pages here. All right, here we go. Oh, here's okay, great. I just turned to page 108, and I'm pretty sure this is in his chapter 5 for aspirational coaching.
Okay.
Aspirational coaching, by the way, Sean describes that as your topic, your agenda. What do you want to work on? How to help them get better mentally, spiritually sound with
Mhm.
doing it work, making sure we're achieving their goals. But this is a part of aspirational coaching, and I love this because it's basically recruitment to the cause, recruiting to the cause.
Ah.
Have you seen this one before?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, I'm a student of Sean's and I've read the book. So absolutely. Read that quote out
Yeah,
there. I love it.
so I love this. I love this topic because a lot of times we see managers out there that are volunteering their team to do certain things and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, why isn't this getting done?" Or what are you doing? And that really has a way of discouraging your employees and in a way that you're kind of invoking a little bit of stress and fear into them, right?
Mm.
And you're giving them task work, or maybe you're giving them a instruction without them really knowing what it is they're trying to achieve, or why they're even doing what they're doing.
Mhm.
So let's read this little excerpt from recruitment to the conversation, right? Um, this requires empathy. Yeah, oh, excuse me, I can't read apparently. This requires empathy and a desire to share your positive intent. You can't win a war with a one-person army. What you need to understand about communicating with others is that in the first 15 seconds of any conversation, people choose one or two sides. Scenario one, they may choose to fight against you because they feel attacked. Maybe they
Mhm.
feel that your objectives doesn't align with their goals, and such the battle begins. And then he goes on to say here, how do you win a war? You build an army. You need an army where multiple people are working together to win an objective or accomplish a mission. Well, how do you build an army? You recruit them. And
That's
he's not
right.
referring to recruitment in the traditional sense. He's referring to as a recruitment statement where you, as a manager or a leader, win that person over and
Mhm.
help them understand why we're doing what we're doing, or what is the purpose of doing what we're doing, right? So,
Mm.
with the coaching question of the week, I think the easiest way to propose the coaching question is, um, how important is it to recruit? And this was pulled straight from the book here, okay?
Mhm.
How important is it to recruit your employees to the cause versus telling them what to do? Chris, I'll let you kind of
Yeah.
take the reins on that. Tell us
I'd
what you
love to
think.
speak to that. And that's a great point. I'm glad you ended up on that one today. And there's numerous things you could have picked out, but that is a great one for today. I'm glad we've got that written and you just typed that up here. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
One of the things that is notorious in the car business, and not everywhere, I want to speak in general here, is that so we understand that there are certain things that have to be done, certain objectives that have to be completed, right? Certain initiatives that must be complete in order to be successful. But a lot of times, what I've experienced myself, and I can't speak for everybody, but I think some people will agree with me. Typically, what managers do when they want something done, they either yell, tell, or sell you. And again, these are some Sean's lines. They either yell, tell, or sell you why you should do something. They yell at you because they need it done now or they need it done yesterday. They tell you to do it without any information whatsoever, or they just sell you on why you should do it for them instead of literally just bringing you into the cause, explaining what's going on, and having it be part of something that you want to complete. And I think that's why this recruiting statement is so important that managers understand, because if you can recruit someone into working with you, it's a lot easier to get something accomplished in a team and then in that army,
Yeah, I
Chaz.
think 100%. I think so too. Like, I recall, I grew up playing football my entire life, and I just remember my coaches were always in my backside, like invoking fear of not finishing the
Mhm.
work or,
Yep.
finishing the fight. Letting me know that there were repercussions for my actions all the time. And when I was a kid, like I remember doing that work out of fear of losing my starting job.
Mm.
I didn't want to be the one that was outworked, and it was almost very militaristic, very general esque.
Mm. Yep.
Fire, 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 and brimstone. So
Right.
I and now that I'm older, obviously, and understanding of how the world works from a leadership perspective and a management perspective, right?
Mm.
You can't use that lineage of thinking with everybody, right? It doesn't
Right.
just work on everyone. Kind of like what we were talking about last week, a little bit of last week is like training doesn't fit for everybody, right?
That's
Everyone,
right.
if you want to effectively coach somebody, it has to be tailored and unique for each person, right?
Mhm.
Well, how do you find that out when you recruit someone, right? When you're trying to win someone's favor and get them to understand the value of what they're doing, how do we do that? We don't do that by telling them what to do and leaving them in the dark.
That's right.
You have to cater and kind of curate that message to help them understand. Here's a scenario, right? Let's just say you have a manager who's a good manager by and large, but maybe he's a little too brash with his delivery, right?
Yep.
And he kind of maybe scares some of his service advisors or maybe some of his techs are like, man, I don't really like that guy. The way he's good at what he does, but he doesn't speak my language, right?
That's right.
Are
That's
you going to
right.
go to that manager and say, hey man, cut all that aggressive crap out? I mean, is that how you're going to approach that? What do you think that's going to do? It's going to set that guy off edge. He's
You
going to
got it.
immediately think that, hey, this guy is my antagonist, right? He's going to think that
Mhm.
I'm against him, and it causes a quarrel that's not necessary. But if
Right.
you approach that guy and say, "Hey, look, what I want for you is to be the incredible leader that everyone knows that you can be here, and you're doing a great job of doing what you need to do as a manager, and I really, really think that you're a valuable asset to this team." If you start the conversation that way, how do you think it's going to go, Chris?
Well, I love that. And if I can just step back for a second to add to what you're saying, is that the question is, why is that manager in the first place utilizing the tactic of yelling or trying to get something done? Well, look, the car business, in most businesses for that matter, are very stressful. And we don't want to take that away. It's one of the most challenging businesses out there.
Yeah,
So the fact that someone has got something they've got to get done, they're retreating into that primordial alpha. I've got to get this done. I'm just going to tell them, and this is my initiative, do it or get out. But in 2024, people have to be cognizant of that's not the way people want to be treated. And that's not the expectation. Right. So, like
sure.
Chaz is saying, if people can utilize a recruitment statement to learn how to get people to participate in their initiative and want to do it, man, the results you can get are spectacular. And Chaz said a golden line there, and it's what I want for you. Those 5 words, what I want for you, are really massive. And you can use it a lot of different ways. But
Yeah,
what's
I
real,
think the cool thing about what I want for you is that it's like it's synonymous with what we would refer to as with them, right? What's in
yeah,
it for me,
that's
right?
right.
So
Exactly right.
whenever we're thinking
Great
about
point.
the with them, what's in it for them, right? You could almost craft a recruitment statement if you know the with them of that manager, right?
Bingo. You just said it, Chaz.
Yeah.
You
So
just said
like
it.
if you're a sales manager, Chris, and I know that you want to achieve bonus this month, or right, or whatever it may be, you want to achieve budget this month so you can hit a quarterly bonus or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I know that as your superior, what do you think I'm going to use as part of my recruitment statement, right? I'm going to use that to incentivize you.
That's right.
Hey, Chris, man, what I want for you is I want you to hit that budget so you can take on that quarterly bonus. That'd be sweet, wouldn't it? Yeah,
Mhm.
and so in order, and then you could segue once you get that attention and get them on your side of the fence, right? Then you could segue to the accountability that needs to happen,
That's right.
right?
And you
So,
know what
question
makes
a
it
question for you, Chris, real
yes.
quick. So you're the coach. You're the coach. You're
Mhm.
doing this day in and day out with all kinds of dealers. The segue from the recruitment statement to the accountability. What would you think or say is the best practice for that?
To go from recruitment to accountability.
Right.
Okay.
Because you have to eventually bridge the gap, right?
That's exactly right. And then once again, to add to this great conversation here, to step back just a minute, my question before I answer yours is to add levity to this. Why would somebody use a recruiting statement if they've never bothered to really get to know someone's why ahead of time? If you're always pushing, yelling, telling, and all of a sudden you want someone to do something for you, it's going to seem kind of odd that you're all of a sudden doing this recruiting statement. Well, just to drop something in here for some future conversation, we might talk about something called a GPS in some of our conversations down the road.
It's a great point.
Right?
It's a great point.
Yep. Understanding really what someone has on their agenda, right? What their goals,
and it comes down to that, right? The leader has to understand, if you're going to maximize the efforts of your employees, you have to first understand what makes them tick, what makes them go, right? Whether you're GPSing them or, you found a way to incentivize them outside of a GPS, which I find the GPS we know in our practice is the easiest way to get the goals kind of out there in the picture, right?
That's right.
And like you said, we could have another coaching conversation about that at another day. We'll definitely unpack the GPS. But let's just say that a manager has GPS this person, and they're now crafted the recruitment statement. Where is the bridging in the gap between the recruitment statement and then going into the accountability piece, or dare I say the Jahari's window side of it, putting something in their arena,
Wow. Geez, now you're bringing up another content for another conversation. Jahari's window. What a wonderful piece of
just dropping these dimes in there so people can ask, what are these things, right?
Exactly.
We didn't do this subliminally, did we?
No, not
at all.
To answer your question, I think that once you do have somebody recruited to the cause and they're doing something because, number one, they understand why. Number two, they understand what's in it for them. And number three, they determine they want to be a part of this. Something I like to ask people is, now that you understand where we're going together, how would you like me to keep you accountable to this? And what support do you need from me? Those are some questions that I like to ask to transition to the next level, as you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like people will often refer to it as like kind of like a compliment sandwich in a way. Empowerment, accountability, empowerment,
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
I look at the recruitment statement as hey, look, this is what I want for you. In order for you to get what I want for you, and ultimately, obviously, what you want for yourself, right? We have to accomplish these things. Okay. Now that I've thrown it out there that we have to accomplish these things, X, Y, and Z, what can I do to support you? How can I help? Right.
Yep. That's right.
That's kind of the A, B, and C of the recruitment cause, right? And it's so much easier to have that conversation when you're coming from a place of love, when you're coming from a place of compassion and care for your employees, right?
That's right.
Obviously, at the end of the day, we want the numbers to look right, and we want the success to be right on paper. But the success, and look, I love these one-line zingers, but the success on paper comes from the empowerment from within your employees. And I will forever die on that hill. You can't just bring in some muscle and say, all right, fix my bottom line.
That's right.
Well, that's not how that works.
And not only that, Chaz, with what you're saying, this is something that is so important, the recruiting statement. You genuinely can't just do this with lip service. You have to really, actually, fundamentally care about their success. And if you give someone a statement and you really care about seeing them succeed, it's going to come across as true and real and not something that someone said as a tactic. Recruiting statement is not a tactic to get something done. It's a real deep down internal question to support someone on getting what they want accomplished. Meanwhile, getting something you want as well.
Absolutely. It's advantageous to both parties.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, just when Chris says, it's not some sort of ploy or some sort of, scheme to get them to do what you want. Guys, anytime we do any recruiting to the cause, it should be genuine. Right?
That's right.
We don't, if you're going to win your people over and you're going to want to work, if they want to work for you, they're going to work for you because of the person that you are. We talk a lot about how, there's several incredible leaders out there that have said something to the tune of, people don't remember what you say or what you did, but rather how you made them feel. Right.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's
right.
the kind of leader that people want to work for. So if you're constantly making feel like they're pressured, stressed, and they're on the verge of getting fired,
Mhm.
well, that you're cultivating an environment of fear and hostility. But if you're recruiting your people to the cause and helping them understand the why, and then tying the why to their with them, right?
Mhm. That's
Tying
right.
the why to what's in it for them, and then empowering them and giving them the support that they need through that. Who wouldn't want to run through a brick wall for you,
That's right.
right?
And to add to that, one thing that we know coming out of COVID was a difficult time for a lot of people. A lot of people decided they were going to live their life differently. They're going to work in a different capacity after COVID. So one
Right.
thing that we know is that there's a lot of data out there that says people don't leave jobs anymore. People leave managers. They're not willing to put up with things that they used to back in the day. What are your thoughts on that, Jazz?
Well, I completely agree. And I was, I've been in that scenario a couple of times where,
Same.
you know, prior to COVID, I would stick around a business for a little bit longer just because of the prestige or the maybe the bravado of the brand, you
Mhm.
know. And now that I'm old, COVID's passed, and I've been with Car Motivators for the multitude of since COVID, right? For the multitude of my career since COVID, and
Mhm.
I could honestly say that I don't know that I'll ever work for a business just to work for the name ever again.
That's right.
Um, to me, whether that's big or small, and my plan is to retire with Car Motivators.
Mhm.
But
Same.
the point being is that there's no brand big enough that could have an awful manager that would want me to that I would bypass that leadership aspect just to work for. Apple could call me tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
And say, "Man, we want to be your lead design guy." Not that I'm qualified for that, but you know, my first question would be who is my team and who do I report to?
Right.
Like if that job was being offered to me. And the reason being is because if I don't mesh, or if my team and I don't get it, or if my superior and I, the guy that I report to, or the woman that I report to, if we don't mesh well, it doesn't matter if I'm working for Amazon or it doesn't matter.
Right.
We don't mesh well, or maybe that manager isn't trying to mesh well. Like the point being is, to your point, we care more now than ever about the people we surround ourselves with, not just in our personal lives, but in our work lives.
That's right.
Okay.
Um,
And yeah, I mean, quite frankly, uh, if I didn't think that Sean and our entire team at Car Motivators wasn't absolutely in it to, better the car business and bring coaching to the car business and empower the car business to be better than it's ever been, I don't know that I would be here, because
that's right.
that would mean we're not practicing what we preach, and we're not adhering to goal. Now, luckily we are, right? And because we practice that and we do that every single day.
Mhm.
But just using us as an example, the reason why I'm here and why I've stuck by Sean's side and your side and the rest of our team's side is because, you know, we don't just volunteer. We're not voluntelling each other how to do each other's job.
That's
We're
right.
constantly coaching each other, and we're empowering each other to be the best version of ourselves every single day.
That's right. Uh,
Yeah,
and that goes on constantly in our phone calls and our chats, on our team meetings with our clients. And then again, something that I would love for us to talk about on a later date, Chaz, that goes into this whole conversation. It's funny because everything is linked. It's all linked somehow, surface layer to deeper, to deeper, to deeper. I'd love for us to talk about how social styles and communication styles lay into this part of being a good leader and a good manager later on as well for another day. I think that'll be a part of
absolutely.
this.
And to kind of close up the coaching question, right? The coaching question of the week is, you know, yeah, communication styles are different, right?
Mhm.
You may have somebody who's a 30 seconds or less guy, hires a storyteller, and they may never mesh
Wonder
from
why
a
they
from
don't
a
communicate
personal.
well.
Yeah,
Right.
they may never mesh from a communication standpoint,
Mhm.
but one way they can connect, if that manager uses a recruitment process.
Bingo. What a great way to
You know,
segue that through. If you
and,
understand that recruiting process, you can communicate with anybody. That's right.
right, guys, and I'm telling you, you managers out there, you managers and leaders out there that are having trouble getting through to your employees, I'm telling you, This is one of the small, very small golden tickets out of this book that will help you get to where you're going with the right employees.
Hey, Chaz, I wonder how something like this would even parlay into communicating with our wives or our significant others. I wonder how that could work.
That's a good point. I think I tell you personally, I take a lot of what we do from a coaching standpoint home with me, and I've started to use that practice in my own home. And it's being that I came from the brash coaching side of things, right? The get it done and get it done now, no excuses kind of coaching. It's changed my marriage for the better. It's changed the way I approach my kids for the better, and so, utilizing, practicing what we're preaching. And that's the other thing to close it up here. Remember, managers, you never know who's listening to you.
That's right.
And so if you may be having a conversation with another employee, just remember that another set of ears may be listening to that, whether it is in private or out in the service drive or in the sale, on the sales floor, right? If we are volunteering how to people to do their jobs and that's being overheard, well, think about the impact you're making on other folks now.
Great point.
Maybe it's a client. Maybe it's a client of the dealership that says, "Oh man, I don't know if I like that manager. He's kind of brash, I don't know if
I've
I
actually
work with
seen that, Chaz, and I'd never mentioned where it was, but I actually was a salesperson way back in the day at a dealership, and I witnessed this happen. The owner came in and he was saying a couple things that were pretty exciting on the floor, and I had a lady that just said, "You're great, Chris, but I'm not buying from a guy that, if that's the owner you're telling me, I'm not buying from this place." Yeah.
And that's that's a big no-no in the car business. Anything that hurts referral business or any sort of business that's operating in the dealership right then and there. Ooh, man.
And what he was doing, he was dressing down an employee, and she asked, "Who is that guy?" I said, "Hey, that's one of the owners."
And, imagine that instead of, and I'll close with this. Instead of dressing our employees down, what would it look like if we recruited them to dress them up and make them the star of the show?
Wow.
What different world would we live in our departments if we were recruiting them to the cause and dressing them up to be the star of the show instead of dressing them down in front of everybody? What could you have to gain from that?
And what would it look like if dealerships across the country could literally realize that their employees are their number one asset and treat them as such?
Hey, look, amen, man. Amen. Remember, hey, guys out there, anybody watching, your employees are your number one asset. They're the biggest investment you make, and they're the most important investment you make. So remember, when you bring them into your atmosphere, you treat them and love them like your own, right? You want to rear them up and empower them to do the things that you need them to do like you were doing it to yourself. Okay? But understand that everybody's unique. Everybody's going to have a different way to communicate, but you can always get through to somebody with a recruitment statement.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. So, with that being said,
one more happy birthday to Sean Kelley on the beach today, right? Happy birthday, our friend.
Absolutely. Sean, there you go. Happy birthday to you. Look, Chris, I love the way that we do this.
Awesome. So much fun.
I kind of love this whole not prepared, but yet prepared type deal. Like, I love just being able to chit chat with you. Yep. Look, coming up next, guys, we've got some guests. I don't know. We got a couple of guests.
We got a couple of cool guests lined up here. Yeah.
But we're going to have a lot more content coming for you. Coaching questions of the week are real fun. It gets us kind of, keeping up with what's going on in the automotive industry and how we can stay on top of it, right?
Right. And if you have a question, by the way, that you'd like to see us cover on a coaching question of the week, feel free to drop that in any one of our posts. You can tag myself, you can tag Chaz, you can tag Sean, Justin, Eric, any one of us, and it will get back to us, and we will do a topic and have a discussion, and maybe bring you on live to deal with us. It'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Guys, once again, learn to coach, learn to lead. Go pick it up. Sean Kelley, happy birthday. The Amazon best-selling author and CEO of Car Motivators, Sean Kelley.
That's right.
Happy birthday, sir. We hope you are enjoying your beach time with the family. Chris?
Thank you, Chaz. Awesome day today, as always.
Hey,
great work.
It's always a great conversation when Chris Spalding's here.
Oh,
we're going to do a lot more of these moving forward. He's Chris. I'm Chaz Kelley.
Let's go,
Thank
guys.
you for joining Car Motivators Live. We'll see you next time.
Have an awesome day. See you next week.